What's up, everybody? Nick Powills, publisher of 1851franchise.com, here with another episode of Meet the Zor. There's some sort of fancy button somewhere down there. Click subscribe to watch more of these videos. Excited about today's conversation with Eric Lavinder from Paris Baguette coming up next. All right, Eric, as soon as I go into solo, there we go. I don't want solo. You've had a depth of experience in franchising. I think if you and I both went to back to our childhoods, neither of us expected to be here. This wasn't the pathway that we chose, but frankly, most people that fall into franchising don't pick that pathway. It ends up finding them over life. So just to set the tone for our discussion, how did you accidentally fall into franchising?
I think you're right. Franchising is something you fall into. I don't think unless you have a history or a family that owned franchises is something you would just wake up one day and say, I want to be in the franchising business. I had worked for a bank for a while. I'd worked in commercial real estate for a while and was really looking to do something on my own. And I got into franchising through franchise ownership first, and then went to work for the franchisor after learning all the great things that a franchise does to help support a franchisee. So I kind of went the different way or backwards way of how to get into franchising through owning a franchise first and then going to work for corporate franchisors.
So what I love about that is it gives you a different hat than majority of people in franchises. There are others who start as franchisee and go to the franchisor side, but when you start making that shift over and now the sudden you're on the other side, which is as a franchisee, you're operating your business, you have some visibility into who the franchisor is. You obviously are sold on the vision and the product, the cost to get in, how much you can make, that you can actually open in the market that you want to open in, and then the validation. But now that you switch hats and you're like, okay, this is how they view the franchisee. Maybe what surprised you most when you switched hats and said, oh, that's interesting how they look at that?
I think the most interesting part is how hard it actually is to help support franchisees, not because we're not capable or experienced. We want to help them in every way we possibly can, right? So it's not just about signing the agreement or, hey, we got you a lease. This is a great location, best of luck. If you really truly help the franchisee through every step of the process and after they open and support them through the term of their agreement, it's not easy, right? There's trials, there's challenges, there's disagreements, there's directional differences. All that makes it more difficult. It's not just a set it and forget it. And as a franchisee, you just couldn't understand how many people are in their ear, how many people have their own opinions, how many people want things done a different way. And when you get on the other side, you realize there's a lot more to this than just me or my business or me in whatever state or whatever city you're in. It's really a part of a collective group of people who are all giving feedback or who all are asking for more or less. And as a franchisor, it's a lot of data and a lot of information coming in and figuring out how they're best going to support the collective franchisee, not the individual franchisee.
I mean, that's an interesting perspective because obviously if a franchisor makes the franchisee successful, a successful franchisee is going to make more money. A franchisee who makes more money kicks off more money in royalty and most likely will continue to scale within the franchise, which then the value, if you're value engineering a franchisee who is successful, it could be of tremendous value back to the franchisor. And that's not even including an exit. And so from the franchisor standpoint, when you got over there, you're seeing it. You're seeing that they really want the franchisee to succeed. On the flip side, and obviously being a franchisee, you've gone through this, there are some decisions that come back from the franchisor that you may not agree with. And maybe that's a part of the gap of communication between Zor and Z, is that the intentions are, how can this decision best impact the totality of the system, and equal what you said is, how do you drive success back to the franchisee? And so now that you're seeing both sides of that, it's like, okay, they really are committed to the success. Maybe sometimes franchisees disagree or don't listen. Or more often than not, like if we're trying to distinguish the difference between a great franchisee and a moderately good franchisee, it tends to be the one that is like bought in and following the system versus one that's like, I'm going to do most of it, but I'm not going to spend 2% of my dollars on local marketing. So it's fascinating for you to go through that. Now, as you continue on through your career, I mean, you're understanding franchisee world, you're understanding marketing world, you're understanding ops world, and now you get into the sales world. How having both of those experiences, how has that helped propel you as someone that's now developing or awarding franchises in the sales position?
I think every franchisee that's coming into the system or already in the system, everyone has things they're really good at and everyone has things that they struggle with, right? No one can be the best or the most experienced at everything. So it's a matter of figuring out how you best support each set of franchisees, whether it be operationally, training, hiring, recruiting, catering. There's so many different things you can support them with. And it's figuring out how you can best help that collective group of people to help drive their business, right? Through benchmarking or KPIs and having great conversations between franchisees. All that is going to help you be more successful. But from my standpoint of just specifically development, having owned and operated and built and had to do the real estate, had to do the construction, had to go through the training program, had to help build a market of locations, it gave me the opportunity to really see how much goes into it, how important all of it is. And I want to learn, I want to help create those systems and processes for current and new franchisees through best practices of things that I probably had pitfalls firsthand. And I want to prevent those from happening to people in the future, because it is about the royalties. It is about franchisee success. But one doesn't happen without the other, right? You need both to be successful. The franchisee needs to be happy and successful, and the franchisor wants to have the royalties coming in and more advertising and more room for growth. So supporting them both ways, not just one direction, is very important in the bigger picture for long-term sustainability.
As you progress through your career, you've seen emerging brands, you've seen brands that are going through almost a recovery, like they stalled their growth and now they're going through an advancement back, trying to get back the emotional positivity of franchise growth. And now you're at a brand that has global size, still building up brand recognition in the United States, but tremendous resources behind it. If you reflect on this journey that you've been on with all these variations to where you are at today, what are you super excited about today that maybe resources that you haven't seen like this in the past? And then what's the biggest opportunity for a brand like Paris Baguette now that you're in there helping them grow from a franchise standpoint?
I love Paris Baguette for so many reasons, but specifically to what you just referenced, we're a large enterprise brand, but a U.S. emerging brand. That to me is amazing, because you've got the staying power, you have the brand awareness, you have the financial resources, you have the great leadership, you have the proven concept, you have all that you would have in an enterprise brand. But when you look at just North America or the United States, you're technically an emerging brand. So you can operate like an emerging brand, which I have a lot of experience with building emerging brands to great success. But you've also got this other thing of, oh, they're known around the world. And so people travel here. They know and recognize the brand. So to me, it's the best of both worlds. It's a nationally recognized brand, but it's an emerging brand in the US. So you can operate it and use the same skills that you'd use for an emerging, but you've got this great opportunity over here where people particularly already know the brand, or they have already experienced the great flavor profiles and food of the brand. And so you really kind of have the best of both worlds. That's what's so exciting about this brand and developing North America.
I would imagine now that you're getting your feet wet in here, that you're also recognizing that you don't have to sell this. It's almost like it's a unique positioning, because when the candidate's coming in, it's almost they have to now sell you, because there is a fear of missing out and there is a supply and demand issue, meaning your supply of franchise opportunities is quickly deteriorating. Therefore, in previous franchisor situations, you may have to sell the candidate on what the dream is. Here, it's almost like the candidate has to sell you on the dream of themselves.
It puts you in a much better situation for franchise development. You have to make sure that you're not growing too concentrated in a market. You have to make sure that you're picking the right people, because if you're wrong and you're scaling this fast, it could also do some damage to the future growth. But you're right. We're at a very interesting time point in this brand's history and growth where we really are being selective. We're able to be selective in finding what we believe are the right partners to help us continue to grow the brand. You know, we're very different in the common marketplace. We're somewhat of a niche of a neighborhood bakery cafe where others aren't doing what we're doing, and we're really staying true to our roots and true to what this brand really wants to be when it grows up in the United States or North America. And so it's really fun to watch this brand grow and really trying to pull it back a tad bit to make sure that you don't just sell, to open, to then have those things that occur to brands that grow too fast and can't sustain that growth. We're trying to make sure that we're growing as fast as we can, but also maintaining the same level of consistency, control, and guardrails to make sure that we don't suffer some of those pitfalls that some brands unfortunately have. And we know that they're out there. So we're doing a very delicate balance of growing quickly, but also making sure we can handle that growth.
As an outsider, insider, because we do work together. But if I look at this business opportunity, if I try to zoom out and say, now let me put on my hat as a franchisee, and I'm going to say my comments. I would love yours is almost put in the franchisee hat. I've tried to think of another brand concept that has come into the United States that is actually super friendly to almost every type of consumer. Like I can think about like a specialty Asian chicken brand landing in LA, but it's still specialty Asian. Bakery and coffee goes across everything. So like the reverse would be like when Starbucks goes from being an American brand and says, okay, we're going to start opening up in Europe. Like I have a feeling they had zero issue saying, here's the business opportunity, because the appeal of an American brand, or McDonald's. But on the reverse, if McDonald's started in Europe and then came here, it's almost like the same thing, because the menu is not really niche. Like you have a solution for every type of eater on the menu. Plus you have the cafe side with a partnership with a really good coffee company. Like, I don't know that this has ever been done like this. And so I park this over here, and then I'm going to go over here and say, like, your sales process historically hasn't been to do discovery days in New Jersey. But I walk into that New Jersey facility, I'm like, holy smokes, this is supporting the system? And that's not the only, like, California has support. Like, I'm blown away by this. This could be as good as McDonald's has been in the United States for growth, or Chick-fil-A. Like this is on those same pathways when the story is told from where I sit, if I'm a franchise buyer. How do you feel about those comments, or what is your take on those?
I think you're very accurate. You know, bread is a universal food, right? Everyone eats some type of bread product. Most, if not all, love coffee, hot chocolate, espressos, cold brews. Who doesn't like a little bit of chocolate? Who doesn't like a little bit of donut? Who doesn't like a little bit of cake? So to your point, we have breakfast, we have snack, we have lunch, we have more snack, we have dinner. We really have so many offerings and so many opportunities for someone to come in and enjoy a cake, a bread, a pastry, a salad, a grab and go sandwich, or a hot sandwich as well. We really cover all 3 day parts and anywhere in between. Then you think about catering and buying our amazing cakes to take home to family events or to social events. We really appeal to everyone through bread and through what we believe is coffee as well. So to your point, that's what makes us different, and really, I think something that really can help us scale and grow, because we are all day parts and we are able to offer so much variety to so many different people, that it really isn't just a Korean bakery. It isn't just an American bakery. It really appeals to everybody in the United States and across the country.
You also have a good governor in that the cost to get in is not low. So I actually think that ends up being a really strong protector of the business model, because you have to have built up some wealth in order to enter the system. It's not like it's a low cost restaurant franchise. Like there's cost that goes beyond this. And obviously, if a franchise buyer wants to look through the FDD and see item 19, you can see the financial performance. But when you align now, you have a protector of the business model on top of it. Like it seems pretty attractive. Like if you could go back to when you decided to become a franchisee and you're capitalized and this is an opportunity, is there any hurdle that would prevent you from saying this is it?
As long as you don't mind hard work, which is the restaurant business in general,
Yeah.
that's really the only hurdle other than financial, right? To your point, the more investment, the bigger the opportunity, and the more serious of buyers that we typically would see, and the ones that have already owned and operated other franchises or already has the business acumen to be able to help and grow this brand. We bake and do a lot of things internally every day, all day. And so it is a early morning shift. It is sometimes a late night shift, but that's what makes us so different. And that's what makes us so successful. If I was evaluating businesses now, I would think about kind of the two or three top things that I probably didn't know were as important as they are now is validation and item 19 and the growth. I don't mean sold not open growth. I mean actual growth. And so, that validation and the return on investment are so critical to the success. And we are seeing some substantial success in those categories that I think that helps, growth seeds growth. And I think that's what's really been exciting for us to come into LA, move over to New York, build out some 2 top markets and get great brand recognition, and then really bring it to the rest of the country has been a fantastic growth plan for us.
When you were doing your own due diligence on this business, I mean, I would imagine it's similar to a lot of buyers. Like, okay, what is Paris Baguette? Because there's still like the general awareness of the an American business operator is not going to be top of mind. And I will say, like, even in early stages, I recognize the brand because I've been in New York so many times, but it wasn't like one that I would say, oh, I got to stop at Paris Baguette when I'm walking in New York City. It wasn't top of mind. So when you were doing your due diligence, it was a similar experience. And then it was like, wow, this is better than I would have expected.
Absolutely. I think the bakery cafe category is typically a local bakery cafe. It makes a bunch of stuff in the morning. It closes at 12 or 2 o'clock when it's done. And it's all, these local, mom and pops, for the better word, across the country. You don't think of a nationally branded bakery cafe that truly does bake every day in the restaurant. The other thing, for Paris Baguette, which we are working through, is most people don't know that we're a franchise. That kind of also is an interesting thought that I hadn't considered until I talked to franchisees or prospective franchisees. What took them so long to contact us, or what they told us, was they didn't know that we were a franchise. And so I think that's another interesting hurdle. And so we're really finding the little tiny things that we can do to help generate more brand awareness. And then really just being able to leverage our partnership with Lavazza and being able to roll out some absolutely incredible, limited time offers and doing a holiday specials, and all the things that we're doing has just continued to elevate and grow the brand, the awareness, and the opportunity to continue across the country for more growth.
Yeah, I think the exciting thing is there's a beautiful sandbox, and the sandbox has all of the tools that you need. You have a leadership team that says, go put those tools to work. You have a global leadership team that says, go put those tools to work. And I do think there's some magic in what you said about you perfect LA and you perfect New York. Now you've just perfected 2 markets of proof of concept, and the amount of just pure foot traffic that you're going to have or accessibility to the brand increases. And then, to a franchisee, I think every day that goes by and every week that passes and another Paris Baguette opens its doors, like the pure, natural, unpaid, organic marketing awareness continues to strengthen, which is like that's not seen in the investment into this business. When you invest in a business, you're looking at the dollars and cents it costs to get your doors open. But the buzz and the excitement behind this business is so high that, you open up your doors, you do have a percentage of customers that are already built in. I think that's quite appealing. So to the candidate that is now intrigued, that has watched this video, what else, what are your final thoughts on what you want them to know about the business opportunity?
I think you should evaluate, what you're looking for. This is an amazing brand. It has amazing potential and amazing growth, but it has to be the right fit for the right person, right? This is hard work. You will get up early in the morning and you will do a lot of pre-work to get the store or the cafe open before you start selling cakes and breads and pastries in the morning. But it's very rewarding. It's very satisfying. And to Nick's point, you have a tremendous team behind you with years and years of experience to help us, help you, and continue to grow the business. Nick, it's interesting, as your comment earlier about the brand awareness. We're finding as we grow into new markets, we're having more success in newer markets because people have heard us, seen us, and wanted to try us or wanted to come visit us, but haven't been able to because it either wasn't close enough or it was only in New York or was only in New Jersey or Northern California. And so when we open in a new market, there's this group of people who have heard of us and are just so excited for us to open, and they're spreading the news to other friends and coworkers. And it really does help us seed a fantastic new market because we're having such tremendous brand representation in a new city that just solidifies our ability to continue to expand beyond where we were to begin with and continue to grow the brand across the country.
Well, and I think on that note, because I do want to add this in there, and I lied. I have a follow-up question. Like if you think about the brand awareness, because of its international footprint, early stage Paris Baguette locations are in predominantly Asian markets. And so the fan base, you could go to any Asian market and the fan base is tremendous. And now what's happened is now you took those that didn't have much awareness, maybe a little bit because of New York, and you mirrored those together. And this beautiful thing is happening that now you can go into a mainstream market and touch every type of demographic, because if you just look at the product in the window, no human being can't look at that and say, wow, that's not beautiful. And I think that's super cool about the business. My follow-up question, because I think this is something that the candidate would be interested in. So I hear you talk about the hard work, that this is up early. Can I offset that by hiring my own GM? Can I increase my investment into this and not have to do that stuff? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. I think we want the franchisee to be engaged in their business, right? That could be working in their business to start off with, but hopefully evolving to working on their business long term. I think a good 3 to 6 months are a minimum to really understand how the business works and how it operates, but then work on how do we scale the brand and the business without me doing everything inside of it. From anybody that wants to own a business, no one dreams of doing all the work in every situation forever. They want to figure out how they're going to scale it. How are they going to help mold and shape people to do what they're doing and then continue to scale the business? And so a lot of our franchisees are on their second, third, or fourth. We have a lot of multi-units that are growing the brand, so it's already easier for them to scale. But if you are new and you are coming into a system, learn the system, get involved in the system, really make sure that you know what's right and what's wrong and what does that look like and how do you support your staff and how do you support and grow your customer base. And then how do we help you scale out to grow and work on your business, not in your business on a daily basis? The big focus is really making sure we help you achieve what your goals are, right? You think about it when you buy a business, what are your goals? How do you want to get there? Where do you think is success? How do you measure that success? We can't help you figure out how to get there if we don't know what those are. It could be 10 cafes. It could be only 2. It could be, I want to pass this to a family member. Whatever your goals or reasons for doing it are, share those so we can help you achieve those together.
Love it. Eric, great catching up with you on this. Again, what I love about your story is you've seen so many different angles of the franchise opportunity. And if I'm a buyer, just having the opportunity to connect with you, whether that's on LinkedIn or it's through the sales process, you know how to vet out an opportunity on both sides. And I know you're a calculated person. So you're not going to take a role unless you really believe that it is sellable. And that's going to be based on your experience as a franchisee. And I think that's deeply valuable to the process. So looking forward to see next year is going to be fantastic. Looking forward to seeing where the story lands. But thanks for sharing some of your story with us.
Thanks for having me. And yes, I am very excited about the future and what Paris Baguette will do this year, next year, and beyond. So thank you for having me.
Of course. For Eric, I'm Nick. This is another episode of Meet the Zor.